Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
All right, any bills, Karen?
No bills.
All right. Any public comments, anything that's not on the agenda? We have a 7:05 hearing, and of course, we're way ahead. So can we jump down? Let's jump down to the resolution 2026-1. It's down a ways, but we'll go back up to the garbage trucks here in a second.
Is this a subdivision one?
Oh, we could, no, that,
Okay.
we have to do that as a first reading too, the
Right,
subdivision
and
one,
that's
right?
a hearing
Yeah,
too. So
that's a hearing too.
You're right,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
2026 one, the
Yeah.
resolution, you could do that, the contingency adjustment. Yep, yep.
Okay.
Someone knows what page it's on, let me know. I'm operating,
It's a waste.
oh boy.
Yeah, I'm getting there too, sorry.
Does anybody need explanation on?
By the time I get there,
What that is,
it'll
or
be
is everybody
7:05.
Okay, it's on, well, I've got it.
something like that?
I got 30, but I'm on the
It's money we've
website.
already spent.
It's on 38, 39.
38, yeah.
Okay, I'm close. All right, we have a resolution 2026-1 is a contingency transfer for 2025. Staff's recommendation is approved. Background summary, Teresa, you want to give just a little bit of?
So basically, throughout the, we have a budget that we work off. The budget is just an estimate of our expenses throughout the years. And obviously, things change, either things are added into the budget by council, or things aren't paid out, or for some reason our estimate's off, and we go over. Basically, every year, we put 50,000 in what is a contingency account. And that money can be used to make budget adjustments. So we can transfer from this contingency account, say, to the parks or the streets, or someplace where we need to adjust the budget because we've gone over for some reason or another. These are mostly small transfers because they're only 50,000. Like I said, these are just budget corrections. They don't spend any money. It is just basically fixing our budget because, we do our budget in September of the previous year, so like I said, things change, by the time you go a year and a half almost later. So this is just making those shortfalls in our budget and correcting our budget. No transfers of money.
All right.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-1 contingency transfer for 2025.
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Carlson.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
How we doing? We're close.
We're close.
We got enough time to do that next one, Teresa?
I think so, because they kind of runs hand in hand with the contingency adjustment. The next one is basically first reading of Ordinance 769, and this is a supplemental appropriation. Works very similar to the contingency adjustment, it just adjusts budget. But you can't use contingency funds if you need to adjust a budget in, say, the wastewater treatment fund, or if you need to in the water fund or the sewer fund. You got to do a supplemental appropriation, and that's what this is. Like I said, very similar. It's covering shortfalls in budget for one reason or another. The explanation was in your packet where the shortfalls came through. Like I said, we can't use contingency funds for this, a transfer for that, so we need to do a supplemental appropriation. Just adjusting budget, no spending of money.
Make a motion to approve the first reading of Ordinance 769 supplemental appropriation for 2025.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
All right, and, we're at 7:05, right on the money. Let's go back up and catch the approvals of the, oops, passed it.
Page 5.
Is it page 5?
Sure is.
Okay, there we are. Every year we do renewals of our garbage license, garbage haulers. So tonight we have approval we need to approve renewal of 7 garbage applications for service providers in Hartford.
Has this license fee always been this, or when's the last time? How is that based? What is that based upon?
It's been set by the council, and it's in our fees and fines. It gets reviewed every year by the council. It's been this amount for quite a few years, though.
But that is something, Michelle, that if we want to, when we have our
Look at, review
discussion
our
on
fines
all of
and
our
fees.
fees, we can sure
Yeah.
take a look at it and see if that's
I'd be
Take a
something.
look
interested
and
as to
shop
how
it
long
up.
it's been that way, you know?
Yeah.
Just, okay,
Several years on.
quite a few.
Yeah.
That was aggressive.
That was aggressive. You know, I just look at that and I'm just like, okay, we're charging garbage. I'm not going down this road, Travis, but you know, what happens if we charge every electrician, everybody that wants to do business here? I mean, it's just something to think about. Why are we charging the garbage people?
A lot of municipalities do.
I know a lot of municipalities do a lot of things right, a lot of them do a lot of things wrong. I mean, it's just a conversation of
I think with
how do you
garbage
pick what you
haulers,
want to do?
I think it's harder on the streets because they have very heavy equipment.
Yeah.
It's just more wear and tear on the city streets. So I think that's why it's
So that
evolved in many of
$250
the
per
cities.
person covers that. That's like,
Have to come in and.
No, it doesn't cover it, but it
makes you
helps.
feel better.
Yes, but it helps, makes us feel
Saying here.
It doesn't cover
it's
the
not,
wear
it's
and tear.
really not needed. I mean, it's really not needed.
But I think that's where it mostly derives from, is that they have a lot of large equipment, heavy equipment on our city streets, wears on them faster, so there's a fee
Try and
associated with
recoup
that.
something.
Yes, yeah.
You just keep
Let's
track of
hype-
who's here.
Yeah, just hypothetically, you get somebody in town with an unmarked vehicle, picking up trash, hiring, ex-convicts or just maybe somebody who hasn't had a background check. This at least provides hopefully a little bit of legitimacy to this industry. I mean, not that the industry needs it.
Yeah, but we're not monitoring who they hire. I mean, it's a good plan, but we're not monitoring who they
I
hire.
think it's like the golf cart fee. They need to approve.
You know
it.
how I feel about that, right?
Well,
So
it's
was
the
it-
first time they discuss any property.
That was a bad example.
No.
This will let you know who's
Same reason.
allowed to be in town and what the companies
Right.
are. If you didn't have this, it'd be a free-for-all, you wouldn't have any control over it.
So it'd be a true capitalism. Hey, who's ever going to provide the best service is going to get the most business.
Okay,
Just like any other business, it's any other business. Why would, like I said, we'll move on and we'll accept this,
I'll make a
but,
motion to approve.
but every other business can
Thank you. We
operate
have a
freely.
motion on the
Every
table.
other business
Of
can
the
We have
operate
a
seven
freely.
motion on the table and a
applications.
second
Second.
to approve the, any other discussion?
Well, Sean, were you here when we noticed there was somebody in town that wasn't a licensed trash hauler?
They weren't, was that the one of the, that was right up there
Roll-off.
where they had a roll-off sitting on a driveway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would maybe make a person think that they didn't know the rules, right? And so, or, hey, we want that person to be licensed, here are the weight limits of our streets, those sorts of things. But at any rate,
Yeah. Any other discussion?
Feisty tonight.
Hearing none,
I'm
we'll
nice.
vote.
You're
Carlson,
still feisty.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Keel.
yes.
Parachek.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
All right, second up under ordinances is first reading of Ordinance 768, the amended subdivision regulation. This has been recommended by P&Z. First reading tonight.
I honestly thought we already did this.
Well, a year ago, we reviewed our subdivision regulations. We went through with ISG. We actually did our design standards, our technical standards, and our subdivision regulations. And all the suggestions are the changes suggested for the subdivision regulations, we did approve and we were good with, except the park space contribution, which is that when a developer comes in town, they've got to dedicate 5% of their land for park or open spaces, or they got to pay, as of now, $1,000 fee per acre. So P&Z was comfortable with all the other suggested changes, so were you guys, except for this public space contribution. That's the one we're really kind of looking at now and approving. That's the one where P&Z changed the wording on it, and this is the suggested wording from P&Z. Basically, like I put in my report, we were running into some issues, our current subdivision regulations, like I said, you either, and it was an either-or situation, the way it was worded before, it's either land or pay the fee, but the fee was only $1,000 an acre, so guess what developers want to do? Land is worth a lot more than $1,000 an acre, so hence we weren't getting any land, it was all coming down to paying fees. Well, that's not particularly what we want, especially new developments where there's not a park close or whatever. We want land for park spaces and neighborhoods and whatnot. So, kind of work with ISG, we tried to figure out, what is that fee amount, what's fair, what's, okay for the developer to pay, but still, gets us, more funding for parks. And really it came down to, in which we kind of pushed getting that park master plan is, okay, let's identify where we need park or open spaces, which we did the park plan, and that's identified in that plan. And so now we got a document, we can go off and say, okay, what this says is, if in the master park plan, it shows that a park is needed or open space is needed, then we're going to require you to give a land contribution. If it shows that, it's not needed, say it's close to an existing park or whatnot, then we want monetary so we can use those funds for other places that need, the park or improvements or a bike trail or whatnot. So, and that cost, if it is a monetary donation, is going to be fair market value. So we're going to, and it's going to be at the time that they submit the preliminary plan. So it's going to be a dollar amount on undeveloped land. So it's not like we're going to be pressuring the developers, charging them for developed land. It's going to be undeveloped land, ag land. So it's going to be a lesser fee for them. That's basically what it boils down to. We have to identify where we need either land or funds, and then those funds, if we need funds, are going to be fair market value. And all of this is going to be pointed out right up front when we do the preliminary plan for it and approve that. So everybody knows in the forefront, what they need to do. Is it donate land or is it donate funds to the city?
I assume this is not unusual. Or
Open
unique
space
to Hartford.
contribution, I think
Related
most
to
cities
park.
around it have it. I think a lot of them are very similar to our current wording now, and like I said, they're already into the trouble of, okay, that $1,000 an acre just isn't cutting it,
This has been a topic of discussion for P and Z for as long as I can remember.
Yes.
Like the very first year I was on planning and zoning, this was discussed, and so it's kind of a moving target, and it needs to be reviewed regularly, so.
Yeah, oh yeah, and like every document we do, we view these on a regular basis, go through them. And when it came up last year to review the subdivision regulation, we knew this is one section we needed to review and take a look at, just because we weren't getting any land donations where we probably need them, so
I
we
just
just want to
didn't want-
ensure that we're
Like we've heard with other, that feedback we get from time to time,
Oh, yeah.
like no one else does this.
Right.
I think.
So I think I just wanted reassurance that we weren't gonna be,
No, we are not the only one that requires open space, donation from a developer land, yeah.
So this will be for future subdivisions? It won't be
Yes, I mean,
automatically-
it can only take, we can't do anything retroactive. It's, once this is passed and effective, then it's going forward. We can't do it retroactive
And if
for
I got
existing
this right,
developments.
then we determine if it's park or money.
It's gonna be, we're gonna reference our plan and see if it's identified there, and that's what's gonna determine, do we need land or do we need money? Yeah. Like I said, because right now, they basically have the choice, the way it kind of reads. It's,
But they won't
you
have
do
to
land,
change that.
or in lieu of that, you can have this donation. Well, everyone's doing $1,000 an acre, because, and we can't go out, as a city and buy land for $1,000 an acre for a park, so yeah, really, there's a difference. We have a few, one for sure, prominent developer on the P and Z board, and we've talked it through a lot with him, and he feels that it's fair to the developers, and I can roll there, how we come up with this.
How would this play into developers that maybe they have a bunch of land they're sitting on? So is this just like,
It's when they develop and submit a preliminary
Okay. so-
plan for development.
Okay.
I mean, they can own land and sit on it, but it's when they submit their preliminary plan for development, they have to either identify land or we have to come to the agreement of the monetary donation. So it's when they're gonna develop it, you know,
Okay.
not just because they have land. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 768 as recommended by the P&Z board.
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Rajek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
All right, now we gotta skip way down again, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
47.
is that where it is? Okay. Next up is Resolution 2026-2. This is to appoint representative to the SMGA Advisory Board. I have been filling this spot last year or so.
Your desire to continue?
Yeah, I can sure stay on, with some of the things we got going on with SMGA, with them, handling or administrating the regionalization, project. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. It's good to, I think it's good to stay in there and keep our finger in the pot, so to speak.
Motion to appoint Mayor Arden to SMGA Advisory Board.
Second?
Any other discussion? Hearing none? What?
Teresa's the alternate, right?
Yeah, and Teresa, oh yeah. We
Yeah,
didn't say
and
that.
for some reason, Art
Yeah.
didn't go to me.
Just want to make sure you volunteered, guys.
You're still staying there.
Did volunteer.
Oh, volunteer, yeah, okay. Voluntold.
Hearing nothing else, we'll vote. Carlson.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
All right, we're down to reports. First up, Deputy Jonah.
How's it going tonight?
Good.
All right, so this month we had 229 calls for service, which was an increase of 55. There were 8 accidents, all without injury. 8 arrests, which was an increase of 3, 36 case reports, 21 citations, and 2 warrant services.
It's 11.
It's a hell
And
of an
maybe not
increase.
paying attention, but do the case reports go up and down that much? Like it was up 20?
Yeah, like last month it was, that report was taken from December 1st, or that'd have been November, so November 1st to the 25th. So this one was a little bit bigger, just a longer stint, so. But typically not really, they kind of stay around the same.
Any concerns you have, or pretty much? Good.
It's not a scooter, although I saw a scooter with their headlight
I
on.
did see a kid driving a scooter to school this morning, and I was pretty surprised.
I saw one with a headlight on
Still
last
chilly.
week at night. Down the sidewalk.
Like this?
I don't know where, I mean, it was dark. I don't know. You just saw it.
Wow.
I didn't really see any over the Christmas break. There's a kid riding a little dirt bike around, but other than that, I haven't seen any scooters.
Nobody brings it up, I just have to comment on it. We haven't seen them, so I guess can't let it die.
All right, any other questions for Jonah? If not, we'll kick him out of here.
See you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
All right, see ya. All right, city engineering report, most exciting time of the evening, Mr. Michael.
Good evening, everyone. The report is in your packet. Aside from the water model study, not much to update. Water resource recovery is pretty getting that one work towards closing out. bollards are in our city's hands. We're waiting on schedule from them, but once we have that, we're able to provide that to the city. Western Avenue, I mean, on hold for winter, just due to weather. And items remaining, city water model we'll talk to after these other projects, and then the Nicholson Road shared use path. Did reach out to Logan, the DOT, after the holiday, just for status update on that. Is still in their court. They are working on some internal approvals, giving it their internal project number, but they are moving it towards becoming a reality also. So, happy to answer any questions on those projects, otherwise we'll dive into the water model.
Anybody got any questions for Michael before we talk WADA? Alrighty, fire away.
Alrighty, so, been talking about it for a little while, citywide water model, began kind of as a discussion just with some of the developments that have been going on, recently just with the need as Hartford grows, want to ensure that providing adequate water service to all residents and really building a strong base for the future. So quick outline here, just going through the project need, overview of the modeling, the calibration process, reviewing the existing conditions, what the city is currently using, then going into the proposed scenarios, recommended improvements, additions, and so forth, and then finally wrapping up with the conclusion and estimated project costs. So the need really stems from Hartford's growth. Hartford has seen 3% growth each year since 1990. The current water tower was built in 2001, I believe. At that time, Hartford was half the size it is today. So if you'll note that Google Earth photo is from 2010, so it's only 15 years ago, and maybe a little hard to see, but there's been significant additions to the city since that area was taken. As it currently stands, the farthest service point is over 2 miles in a straight line from the tower, so even further by Main. And then looking ahead, there's several developments under construction now, a couple phases that we anticipate moving this year, and then a couple others that we've had discussions with developers on where they plan to move on those in a couple of years.
And the tower is being the white tower, correct?
The white tower, yes.
Not the blue tower. That is not.
The blue tower is an antenna tower, essentially. It is not actively
No
being
longer.
used to supply
Okay.
the water system. So if we just look here, maximum day based on 2024 billing data, that month of August was the biggest month at 510,000 gallons a day average. But the average day throughout the entire year was about 220,000 gallons, which is pretty close to what we're seeing at the water treatment plant, which side note is really good for inflow and infiltration, showing that there's not a lot of groundwater getting into the sewer system. But then in the winter, see a further decrease just with a lack of lawn watering, primarily down to 170,000 gallons per day. So model creation, InfoWater was used to build, analyze, and optimize the system. It's an Autodesk product. They're a very large firm. They have several projects, so it's industry standard to use them for this application. Nice thing about that is it's GIS based, so we were able to directly import the city's current utility information into that, as well as the water main location services, hydrants, and elevation data to build the model as accurate as we can without a lot of field survey. Water demand into the system was based on previous year's billing data, and then demand patterns were approximated based on available data and trends typically seen with cities this size, and then those trends for usage throughout the day is verified through testing. Calibrating the model, Craig and Jesse spent the day with testing meters throughout town. A couple different tests were performed. One was an extended pressure simulation test, meaning a meter was just left on a hydrant for about a week or so just to see the ebb and flow of water tower levels throughout the day, what that does to pressures, how that impacts the system overall. And then additionally, there were steady state or fire flow tests that were conducted just to call it stress the system, see what happens when a hydrant is open, when there is a fire, because that is a very important criteria for a system. So the readings that were taken in the field were compared to the same simulated conditions in the model, and generally results were aligned very well, as you can see in that graph. Typically, for situations like this, you want to see plus or minus 5 PSI. So that's what those two dashed lines in the lower left graph indicate, is that plus or minus 5 PSI range. There was one outlier. That was one that was noted as either just an incorrect reading or a test type got flipped or whatever it may have been. But considering all the other data points, that outlier was not of concern. So looking pretty good so far. Next, just running into the existing conditions based on it. Photo came through pretty poorly. Apologize for that. But looking at pressure, the graph really tells the story. So we wanted to have our pressures in that green range on the graph. So the blue is the minimum and red is the maximum on the peak day and the winter scenario. So the lack of really fluctuation between called the minimum day during winter and the peak day during summer really shows that the system is not stressed by the fluctuations in demands. And generally, pressures range within town from 50 to 90, which is an acceptable range. There are some that are slightly above, some that are slightly low. These are acceptable serviceable zones, but don't fall where any corrective action is necessarily needed at this time. Looking at the available fire flow, once again, map came through a little blurry. I'll make sure this is available to Teresa so you guys can see this as well as the full report. But generally, looking at 1,500 gallons per minute for 2 hours to provide fire flow services to residences, and then 4,000 gallons per minute for 4 hours for larger industrial or commercial users. However, I will say sprinkler systems, which are typically required by the fire code, do lower that requirement. So looking at the map and the graph, over 95% of hydrants throughout the city of Hartford exceed 1,500 gallons per minute capacity to provide that residential fire service, with most of them shown on dead ends, which is expected. And then lastly, these aren't necessarily full bore flows. These are flows that, when open, they don't reduce the pressure within any part of the system below 20 psi, and that's important because if you have a complete loss of pressure in the pipe, you can have actually the pipe collapse because the soil pressure will press down and collapse it, and then additionally you can have those soil pressures that actually could lead to some contamination within the pipe without breaking it. So maintaining that pressure keeps the pressure outwards, which prevents costly breaks and contamination, oil orders, all of that. Lastly, this is more on the engineering side, admittedly, but pipe velocity head loss are also a good indicator for how the system is operating. The blue indicates that the head loss per 1,000 feet of pipe is less than 1 foot. Essentially, that's how efficient this system is operating. So you want to see lower head loss to allow for greater transport of those. There is one small section just to the west of the tower to note that is yellow, which is in that 3 to 4 range. That was one that was identified as an incorrectly sized pipe, so that's just being revised to 12-inch. So I would anticipate that to move into a better range since the larger pipe does convey water a bit better. So overall, not too many concerns with head loss as well. The velocity is another thing that's directly tied to head loss. Having a lower velocity in the pipe leads to less surge, which leads to less strain on the pipes, extending the life of that pipe because there's not those surge pressures that are slowly fatiguing those plastic pipes over time. Lastly, looking at, on the existing conditions, looking at the storage capacity, there's a lot of ways to look at storage capacity of a tower based on a multitude of things, from reliability of the source water to the likelihood of contamination, the state of the infrastructure. Is it old infrastructure that's prone to cracks? Natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, flooding, tornadoes, whatever it may be. Use requirements for industrial users. I mean, the VA and Sioux Falls, they have their own water tower because they need to maintain a very, very specific level of water. And then just the number of water sources available. Those things all play into kind of what the recommended storage is. based on where Hartford sits, the recommended storage volume for the city is the 2-hour fire flow, which is noted as 2,500 gallons per minute for 2 hours, so that's 300,000 gallons, plus the average daily use, which puts us at 520,000 gallons. So it's typically recommended to have that much storage in it just to maintain water turnover, but not have too much water age. So with that and the current 500,000 gallon tower to the north, there is a very slight deficit in the city storage. So just to summarize, the existing conditions, the pressures within, AWWA guidelines, which that's the American Water Works Association. Residential fire flow coverage is very good, over 95% hydrants are meeting that. Head loss and velocities are well below the recommended limit, and there is that slight deficit of 20,000 gallons. I'll stop there. That was a lot. Any questions on where the system currently sits?
So we don't need a new water tower right now.
Not immediately.
Define immediately.
Likely not within the next 5 years.
Okay.
We'll touch on that, trust me. Any other questions?
So it looks like to me, what you're saying is that we're at max right now, but we can still run that a little bit, because we have a growing population that we're going to run into.
Correct. So the fire flow is something that likely could very well be discussed with the fire department that could be back down. 2,500 is a very typical number to use. 2,500 gallons per minute for 2 hours is a pretty typical number to use. However, depending on the fire department's capability, how quick they'd be able to, put out a fire, there's a lot of parameters where we could shift that.
And also, if there would be a huge fire in town, we can contact Rural Water, they can bump up our gallons per minute coming to town, so we would be able to keep up with that percentage.
Yeah. So the city does have contracted water for
1,500 gallons.
1,500 gallons per minute, which is 2.2 million gallons per day. So the city's currently using 10% of that. So with all the storage in the tower plus that rate, there's a very little likelihood of a fire, I would say, draining the tower completely. So
Even when we had our tower down to paint it, we were down for about 2 months without a tower running off Rural Water's pressure system, so. And people didn't know that we were even down,
So looked at a couple different scenarios here for proposed conditions looking ahead. These are 2055, so 30-year projections, call it. So as noted, Hartford's seen 3% growth over the last 35 years. Don't anticipate that to slow down. So looking at 2055 population, nearly 8,000. Based on current water usage per capita, be looking at about 1.86 million gallons per day of usage. And then looking at scenario 2, very similar. However, this does look at some potential industrial areas south of the interstate, just kind of in line with what the council had decided for the water treatment facility. Went with that increased capacity, just looking ahead at future industrial users. Kind of want to make sure we evaluate that on the water side too, because don't want to hamstring the city by having a lot of wastewater capacity but limited water availability. So it's nice to have those balanced, have that excess capacity. So pretty typical to see 500 gallons per day per acre. So with those 1,000 acres, we're looking bumping up another 500,000 gallons per day to 2.36 million gallons a day. So as it's shown, there is, I'll get into that as we go. So looking at the recommended improvements, it's pretty similar between the two. So both scenarios will have a parallel main running down Mickelson Road from just north of Highway 38 down to South Street. In both scenarios, that is proposed to be a 16-inch water main, basically kind of providing a backbone for the city. As noted, that larger pipe has less head loss and convey more water. So even though it's not, call it the entire length of town, it's still providing a great benefit by allowing more free movement of that water. Secondly, there is the proposal for a second tower about 1.25 miles west along Western Avenue. For scenario 1, the just call it residential growth in the city, This would be a 500,000 gallon tower with a 12-inch pipe leading to it and connecting into the existing system. For the scenario 2, with the additional industrial area, this would be upsized to a 750,000 gallon tower with a 16-inch pipe connecting it. So,
Same place?
similar place. So, location was chosen truthfully due to elevation. As you go west, elevation's a little bit higher, and the benefit to that is actually be feasible to have the water elevation in that tower at the same elevation in the existing tower, and so the city wouldn't need to have multiple pressure zones, which probably makes Craig's life a little easier, or Jesse's, he's retired soon, but makes that life a little bit easier to maintain a single pressure zone there, so. And then looking at the pressure maps, little tough to see, but really with the extended area between 1 and 2, within what I'll say is currently the town, there's really very little pressure difference between the two. It's just what's that industrial area is providing. What was modeled generally is the worst case scenario. So, wait here quickly. So, I know there's currently this 12-inch pipe that the city just upsized here for future development south. That was not modeled. We were looking at kind of with this whole area trying to centralize that and get it in there. The intent would be if this developed or this developed, look at something that across to do it, and then some point in the future moving that. And then similarly, over here with this land, there is no on Highway 38 here. Preliminary discussions with Teresa and Craig, especially with the 5th and 2nd Street. Maybe if this is developed in the near future, maybe the main would start off down 2nd Street there, and that would be the service connection for it, as well as currently Oakley Street. So these, as noted, are in some ways worst case scenarios. But the benefit of the water model is that it's in GIS. It's something that could be updated as the city grows, as developers come with a preliminary plan, or even prior to that. We could look at water pressures, look at their preliminary layout, anticipate what that would be, and then make a data-driven decision or recommendation from there on maybe the first phase or how they have the water main laid out. So fire flow maps are very similar. One thing to note: the southwest side does get a little light on fire flow. Those two on the left side are about 500 gallons per minute, so pretty limited flow on there. Once again, that is due to that worst case. I would anticipate those would be higher with that main connection from Rube Trail, but just wanted to centralize that connecting main. Conclusion, Hartford's, the current distribution system is sitting in a very, very good spot. There's just a slight deficit, which, depending on, which, I'll say, engineers analyzing what the storage needs are, that may very well balance and shift a little bit. So, no major cause for concern there. However, due to the storage deficit and as well as the city's growth and the city's, I'll say, appetite for, trying to entice an industry, very likely recommended to have a tower within the next 5 to 10 years. Additionally, I noted it briefly about the pressure planes. Really anything kind of to the west of current city limits, like if you look at that left side, I'll say, of the map, that elevation starts to go up. So should a development occur there, the city would likely operate in a low pressure for some time until a trigger point, and then that would be the creation of a second pressure plane. So that was analyzed. That was a recommendation for a report, but just based on past growth, really more eastward, kind of focused our efforts there at this time. But as noted, once if a developer comes with plans for that, they would certainly be able to. We'd certainly be able to analyze it at that time. And then cost estimates are provided. Did base the tower costs on past years bidding data. We work very closely with a couple of manufacturers, reach out to them, and these are their estimates for various tower types. Anticipated to keep that pretty simple, like the current ones. So, and then the water main costs are just for the various sizes and the lengths. It is about 2.5 miles of pipe. So it's not a small project by any means, but wanted to provide this for your review. Happy to answer any questions on our forward-looking analysis.
I would say it's nice to hear that the pressures are all very consistent. I mean, I do hear on occasion that the pressure on Part T is low, but you didn't record anything that would reflect that?
Yeah, we did record, we had one over, be on the far east side of where Colton Road, or where Part T and 9th Street came together. We had one on there for actually a week. We had one on there checking pressures. We did some up at the tower. We had it scattered around town.
Sure. And you didn't?
I think that did show up in that 40 PSI range, pretty consistent.
Okay.
And I actually did put some tests on Judemans quite a few years ago. And
Sure.
around that area, and they came back at that. I think the lowest is like 38 or something like that. I got that, like, I guess, like 30, so.
Sure, yeah.
So I will say that north side of town is where pressures are lower, just because it is at a similar elevation to the water tower. I mean,
Yeah.
looking at these, I think we all looked at them and kind of went, oh duh, the pressure follows the topography, so it's pretty high down by the creek.
Yeah.
But then as you get further up, it's lower, so it's a function of the elevation, so.
So with our growth projected to go east towards Sioux Falls, I was surprised to see that the proposed tower location was west.
We were too.
We all were.
We see the report, like,
We
what?
did the same thing we first.
Yeah. Okay. So is it because it's a similar elevation, and if we put that tower east, it would be such a dramatic
You have to have a
difference?
tall tower, so
Yeah.
you keep the pressure zones the same.
Right.
And the pipes that we've got in the ground are capable of hauling, getting the water to where we need to that in town.
Yep.
Without causing any problem. So west of town, the tower can be quite a bit shorter.
Sure.
And save a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either a higher tower or a shorter tower where there's a lot more valves to limit the pressure zones. And,
Sure.
maintain that pressure so that, to the east and down by the creek, they don't have excessively high pressures.
Yeah, this model showed that with all the looping that we have in town, that we really don't, if you put it on the west side of town, it's not gonna affect the flow on the east side.
Sure. Is there a water tower a little further west that we could tap into or buy and utilize?
Trying to get another tower for $1?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah, that.
Be certainly something to keep your eye out for.
Okay.
But to find a 500 or .75 is gonna be really tough. The ones you'll find for free are the 100,000 gallon tanks and stuff like that.
Sure.
You'd hate to put 10 of them up.
Yeah.
Tank tower farm. Yeah.
Do we have to get rid of the old one that's not being?
No, they would be used in tandem.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But you
So-
mean the really old one, our tower?
Yeah,
The old
That
one,
should-
the old
that's
tower's
what-
not even hooked up to the water lines.
all right.
Yeah.
Do we ever get rid of it, or?
We have cell towers on it that we're getting
Oh.
revenue from, so,
I see.
but like he mentioned, it's a cell tower, basically,
And
looking like a water tower.
depending on how old that is and when it was last recoded, there may be concerns with lead paint, which
I think
mitigation of that
it's
is,
been recorded since then, so
Okay.
we should be in good shape.
for older towers, that is a concern, is that.
So we could actually sell that tower to someone?
You just wouldn't have to give it away, because what it's gonna take it down and move it and rebuild it, they would be, if you got it, like, we got the one over here for $1 from Sioux Falls,
Yeah.
because it was cheaper for them to give it to us for $1, and for us to rebuild it, we saved probably 100,000 or something back then. So,
Didn't it come from Cliff Avenue? Cliff,
It
like
was-
33rd and Cliff, somewhere in that area?
I wanna say it was,
I did not
I
know
can't
that.
remember where it came
it
out.
was up by 26th,
You
and
just got it when I
I think it was up by
started, yeah.
26th, and then on the east side of 229, somewhere up in that area. I wanna say it's where it came from.
So is that the next step then, to put it on our capital improvement plan, or?
I think we should.
Yeah, I
If
thought we had
it's-
down there, but there's a recommendation down the road.
Yeah, it's gonna be 5 to 10 years, but it'll be one of the future projects that we definitely gotta keep in mind, as we grow.
Yeah, because 5 years comes pretty fast. I mean,
Yep.
it's-
When we started talking about the wastewater plant 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And as
It
I
comes
noted,
fast.
this model is something that could be updated yearly with, you know, data from the city.
Right,
We
as
could look at
development.
what the actual usage is in the tower, see where the system's at and see, oh, do we need to bump it up or can we push it back? So that's, I mean, that's something that can be an annual check and, you know, an update with developments or industries that come down, certainly.
And would this cost this year's dollars or 5 years
Yes,
today?
we don't like to anticipate what inflation of the market is going to be.
Be
So they're in $20, $26.
I was like, were the, was the amount on there? Was
Yes,
too high for
10 million was one and 11 million was
Seems
the
like
other or
that's
something.
11 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wastewater
Yeah.
treatment plant, that's just a few years
Yeah.
from original, and also with
There you go.
inflation.
The top one was 10 million, the bottom was 11.8, so.
Yeah.
There.
All right, any other questions or comments for Michael? If not, we'll keep moving forward.
I have one question. Are there tower grants? You know, are there grants to help fund?
There's loans always out there, and we always try to look at grants. Grants are getting less and less as the years go on, but,
Just
yeah, we
today,
definitely
maybe
look
that'd
at
be
what we
lots
have.
of free money,
Yeah.
7 years.
I mean, definitely stuff to look at, I mean, that's always our first line of looking at financing.
All right. Anything else, Michael, or does that wrap your,
That's around what I got.
all right. Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move down to Craig's report, Public Works Superintendent.
Just a couple things to add. Decorations, we'll be taking them down tomorrow. We got a real nice day, so we're gonna be removing those. Future facility, or facility out there, cabinets did show up yesterday, it was yesterday. The guys in Solomon think they're too short, one base and one upper.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
So we might not have, we'll have some counter space back and things like that, which we'll be fine with, but, so they were looking at what they think they're too short. Also today, Taylor with ISG came out and helped with the SCADA system. We've been finding little things here and there that we just want to, whoever the new operator is out there, we want to have everything lined up between the different screens and that stuff, so it's easy for them to understand and read without having to guess and wonder what some of the stuff is. So we've been slowly finding things like that, writing them down, and he's been coming over and working on things, getting them taken care of, or working with IPS to get it, stuff together, right? So everything will be easy for somebody to come out there and run it without having to have a lot of training on the facility. Park bathrooms, the pickleball court bathrooms is coming along good. Hopefully within about a week or so, we'll start getting utilities, plumbing and electrical done in there, so it'll be ready for spring. And that's all I got in my report, I guess.
You got one action item it looked like there?
So as hard as it's always been to find a decent used truck, we've got money in budget. I'd like to get permission that if I find something to go ahead and purchase it. Like we've done in the past.
How much did we put in the budget?
35.
What's this?
36.
Oh, 36, okay.
35.
35
$35,000 in accessories.
Yeah.
36 is in the budget.
And what's, use, I mean, obviously,
We'll be looking for another utility one with boxes and stuff like
Okay.
that. So once we get somebody hired out there, we'll be short a truck again, so.
out at the treatment plant.
This truck would actually go to Eric, so we can load it up the way he wants it for
Yeah.
construction more, so.
Yeah.
All right, action on this item?
Motion to approve the purchase of a new public works truck for the budgeted amount,
Second?
up to the budgeted amount.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Project.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else, Craig?
Nope, that's it, thank you, and you guys have any questions for me?
Anything for Craig?
Gonna get the street sweeper out soon, I mean, so nice.
I looked at it today thinking it'd be nice to get freed up to get it out.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna jinx us
Mm-hmm.
for snow.
Yeah.
We'll get it off the streets no matter
Feel
what.
like
Down
it.
Main, up on his west side, Get all the weeds.
Yep.
Thanks for hosting that tour yesterday. That was great.
Yes. Well, guys ever want to stop back out, it's always open to you guys.
Is, let's see, any feedback on the radar sign on the Colton Road?
I haven't heard any feedback, but I think it works real well.
Yeah.
Because we go out to the pump station out there, read that, there's usually a vehicle in front of us, and as soon as they get to that 35, their brakes are on.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
I hadn't come in that way for quite a while and was through there last week, and it definitely, yeah, it was kind of just too little long, as they say. It got my attention.
Someone put thank you on there.
It does say, it'll say slow down if you're going too fast, and it'll say thank you once you get in the speed limit.
Oh, well, there you go.
And it says something else, to go faster.
Very nice.
Messages can be put on
I
there.
guess I'm the only one who knows.
So they do work, I
Mean
think they
message
do
at
work
the
real
speed
well.
limit.
I've noticed in other towns and that where I've been daydreaming, and all, so, oh, geez, you know.
Yeah. That's great, that's good.
All right, nothing else for Craig. We'll move on. Karen, you got some information for us, it sounds like?
Yeah. Teresa and I visited with both banks in town. Just kind of, it hadn't been done in quite a few years, so we just wanted to see if we're getting the best, or who has the best services, and just check them both out. So I provided a comparison in there of both Rely Bank and First Interstate Bank. As you all know, we're with First Interstate Bank right now. Service-wise, they're both fairly the same. They offer a lot of the same programs and products and whatnot. Fees, Interstate Bank is kind of on a per-item basis for the monthly fees. We average over the last year at like $175 a month. Rely Bank is proposing a flat fee structure of $250 per month. So there is a little difference there. But I think the biggest thing is the interest on the revenue side. Rely Bank is offering a higher rate for their money market account and their certificates of deposits, and we always shop those. I mean, we go with the best rate, but Rely Bank has been consistently better in those rates as well. So I guess when you look at it all, what we'd make in interest outweighs the additional fees we've had, so we would have with them. So in our opinion, looking at what they're both proposing, it would be better financially to go with Rely Bank.
We have a
Alright.
couple of loans with Rely Bank too, and when we got those loans, once again, like Karen says, we shop those around. Rely Bank's always come in with a lower rate on the loan, so I mean, they've been very good to work with as far as, giving us good rates.
And it was around 35,000, right? Which would have paid for.
Based
which
on
pays for
our
that
current
truck.
balance.
Yeah.
And our balance will fluctuate,
Right,
but
right.
Regardless of what amount you have in there, if you're getting a higher interest rate, you're gonna make more money, yeah.
Yep. Well done, I think that was good shopping.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I would like to approve the new bank to Rely Bank.
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Carlson?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Project?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right, anything else you got, Karen?
Nope, that was it.
Thank you. Teresa?
Yeah, my report, you got the updated projects, from the engineer. I just want to point out that, and I had sent you a note on this, we did get the community access grant from the state for Western Avenue, so that's a plus. It's a $600,000 grant, it's an 80/20, so we will be getting $480,000 in grant funds that doesn't need to be paid back, so that will help our balance on our Western Avenue, so like I said, that's a good thing. Obviously, we've got paperwork and stuff to, fill out and complete and kind of get that process all done before we receive the funds, but like I said, that will help that fund there, so that's a good thing. Just a couple other notes. The wage study update that we're having done, Western Group thought they'd have it done kind of mid-December or whatnot, did not receive anything, so after Christmas I contacted them. They're about 92% complete, she said. She's still double checking some numbers, so hopefully we'll have it sometime this month for us. So we can get that and at least have that information as we move forward. The cybersecurity assessment, like, you know, we are working with Homeland Security and Dakota State University to kind of do an evaluation of our system, you know, our IT system, and to make sure that we're secure as possible, being a government facility. There's a grant out there that if you do need upgrades to your system, whatever that may be, software, hardware, this grant pays for it. So it's a great time to do this evaluation. Dakota State's going to come in February and do their assessment. I'm actually meeting with a gentleman from Homeland Security on Thursday. They kind of got each a different assessment process that they kind of go through. So like I said, DSU kind of does their thing, and then Homeland Security's got their process they do too. So I'm meeting with the gentleman from Homeland Security and one of our IT guys on Thursday to start that process as well. So that's all in the works. Just want to update you on the Windsor TIF. We are working on, you know, now that we've got the boundaries developed, we need to move forward with approving their TIF plan, which has already been presented to you, just doing a final approval on that, and then a development agreement, which is a little more specific of when they're going to do what, you know, give some time frames and some more details on it. They submitted a development agreement to us. It went to Tom. We suggested a few changes. They're reviewing it right now. I'm anticipating to have that to you guys at your next meeting, so to review that. So once that's all agreeable, once those two things are approved, then that TIF is basically created and in existence. So those are our last steps on that after all of our back and forth with it. And then just the other things I have on my report, I just gave you a couple updates of where we're at in working with CCOG for that Safe Streets grant. We're just starting that grant process. It's that study to see, you know, if there are, you know, issues we have in our streets and if there's any problem areas or whatnot. We're actually having a meeting this month. The mayor, ISG, Jonah's going to be part of it to kind of just sit down with the Houston Engineering that's doing that study, sit down with them and just have a conversation of what we see, where do we see problem areas, where not, and give them ideas of where to focus and what the issues are here in Hartford. So we're actually having that first meeting, so that's kind of our kickoff of that process. And then give you just another update on Dakota Main Stem. They're basically moving forward with, we're going to get tomorrow we're having a meeting in the morning, the board is, to actually do final approval on the appraisal study. And this study is basically needed to get your feasibility study, to go to the Bureau of Reclamation, to get some financing, so it's all a process. So this is the first study needed to get approval to move on to the next steps. So that's all moving ahead as well. And then I just kind of give you an update. If you have any questions, I sat down with Jay Buckholz. I mean, you've all seen on your home bills, the electrical rates are going up, and they're going up everywhere. It isn't just Sioux Valley, and it's mainly because their suppliers are basically doing increases. A lot of that is the demand. Basically, most of it is the demand is just increasing. But with that, you know, some of their infrastructure needs improving, you know, and so they're going to have to invest dollars in that. So that's where kind of this whole rate increase is coming. And, you know, over the last few years, they've been little rate increases. This is probably a more significant one. And he says we probably can look at, and of course this isn't set, but next year may be about the same. So he kind of gave us analysis of that. So just some added information for you guys, so you know how that affects the city.
Yeah, we're only budgeted 3 to 5% increase each year.
Yeah, and so back in September, this surpasses that, so we're probably going to be over budget, so we'll have, at the end of next year, kind of supplement that budget too, because things like this come up.
Yeah.
These are unknowns back in September to the city, and yes, so, yeah.
Speaking of power, just as a aside, I'm on the member advisory council for Sioux Valley as a representative for Hartford. So if you have concerns or questions, let me know and I'll take that to those meetings. That we only have those twice a year. So.
Well, try and get us a cheaper rate. No?
Right.
Maybe yeah.
That horse has saddled up and rode away.
There you go. So yeah. So yeah, any questions?
Anything else for Teresa? All right. We're going to move to new business. Tonight, we're going to have discussion on Gateway Hartford, Inc. There's been a lot of interest, a lot of talk about this, and it's finally kind of exciting that we can start talking about it and let the public know what we're doing. I'll start with background. That'd be good. You can jump in, Travis, whenever you want.
You bet.
So when we first decided to build we, meaning the city, decided to go forward with the wastewater treatment plant, we knew that at some point our lagoons would be of no use. Once the plant went online last fall, we shut the pipe off first, shut the water off. Craig worked with DA&R, State Department of Natural Resources, got approval to dump. We've been dumping water out of there as fast as we possibly can. There was discussion amongst the council, several people, probably for the last year and a half, couple of years, about how are we going to move forward, what are we going to do with the lagoon land. The decision was made to set up what is called a special project entity, SPE, which leads to the name that we came up with, Gateway Hartford. The reason that we've done this is a specific one project entity that will deal with the transferred land to that group to market and sell it. If you know anything about state law, codified law, cities can buy everything they want, they can't sell anything, because when they get into the sales business, they're competing with the public. So you need a non-profit, in this case, Gateway Hartford is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. The land will be deeded or transferred over to them. They will then handle or work on those sales and that development of that area. So, to give you a little background on how much thoughts went into this, we are going to contract to have a master development plan put together for the lagoon land, and working in conjunction with CNC Ventures, a area or a total area plan of about 150 acres up there right next to the interstate that will be developed. And this is not an overnight deal. We're talking 5 or 10, 20-year deal.
20 years, yeah.
So, the question's going to be asked, why did you guys set up this special entity? We set this up with specific guidelines that direct it. The board that was put together, understand their sole purpose in this deal is to facilitate the sale and development of that property, period. They're not going to be doing other development, they're not going to be out buying other land, and really their first goal is to work on getting rid of our 70 acres and turning it into money. Second thing, biggest point, that we did the special project entity, we set up in the bylaws of this entity that when everything's said and done, all the checks are written, everything's done, finalized, our 70 acres are sold. If there's money remaining in their accounts, that reverts back to the city. Now, is that going to happen tomorrow? No. I don't know that any of us sitting here right now will probably be there when that check's written.
I might be, I'm only 33.
No, crazy. I would be 5 years.
Right.
We won't be probably sitting here though, let's hope.
No, I won't
Yeah.
be sitting here.
So,
There's
Unless-
guardrails built into that too, to keep any board members from benefiting financially.
Right.
From any of that development out there as well.
right.
We're very clear to,
Where is that stated at, Travis?
If you look at the, I can show you, Benjamin, after, in the bylaws in 4, it says right in there, no board members get any compensation of any
Okay,
point.
but yet your articles of incorporation for the
I-
C3, paragraph 4 down at the bottom of the page.
It says can or
It says that you are not
may.
reasonable compensation.
Those are can,
No,
those are can bylaws, and then we
Yeah.
tighten up,
So,
we
Yeah.
tighten up the parameters of those.
In the bylaws.
In the bylaws. But that's a
so
can,
bylaws can be changed at any point in time, it happens,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I understand that,
I
but
think
Stop
if you
5
let-
years from now,
If
I'm
you
just
let
saying-
Arden finish, there's other barriers if we don't do something like this.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying, what happens 5 years from now, this board that's currently on there is completely removed, you know, resigned. New people are in there, they decide, well, I'm gonna change the bylaw where I receive X dollars, you know, from the final sale while I'm on board.
You want, yeah, there's two things here. One, let Arden finish. Two, you should probably come to the podium, so the people
Yeah.
watching at home can hear you.
Sure.
The mics, yeah.
Yeah, so,
It'd
so,
be good
sorry.
to finish
Yeah.
personally.
yeah.
Benjamin Parker, but.
So I know that's your question. Can I, you want me to keep going, or do you wanna,
Well, I was just asking what happens in the future, you know, because the bylaws, you guys set them up, but the next group of board members can change the bylaws to where they can.
I will tell you, I asked, the specific question I asked. Can you, in any possible way, bulletproof this deal so it's forever, can't be changed? You know what the answer they said?
No,
Can't do it. There, so there you know.
right.
We're trying our damnedest, and everything we've done is to set this thing up so
I
it's,
100% agree with, you
But-
know, doing the reclamation on the lagoons out there and selling the land.
Yeah.
And giving the city back.
But that's the part you need to hear more about.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
So-
but he also has a, I mean, Ben. and
Oh, I get
talked-
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
and I understand your
there's
point,
reasons.
but,
Even if we can't guarantee it, there's
Yeah.
still reasons.
Yeah.
yeah, I understand, it's just, I mean, I gotta present it out there because people are already questioning it, you know.
I get it.
Just tonight, you guys pointed out, you know, which I wasn't aware of, that there was already a post out on Facebook.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regarding this, you know.
yeah,
So, I mean, if I ask the question now, that eliminates.
Yeah.
I understand. But I can tell you, and I would tell you every time you ask me, there's no way we can bulletproof, we really cannot bulletproof this
The only
deal.
way to bulletproof it, I mean, and like I said, I think I've been talking to the mayor and all that on that specific topic that you brought up, which I think is a good point to bring up on the Articles of Incorporation is, you know, it gets kind of difficult, and I know there's probably people listening right now online. And you can sit down, I mean, you can always come up, but I'm gonna go on just like a 1-minute rant here, because until I got on council, I never really understood, and maybe when I was on the Development Corp, had a little bit of understanding is, you know, we've got this prime real estate land that the city owns. And, you know, we don't want to put shops up there, we don't want storage units, we don't want, you know, whatever else to be turned into industrial. So there's a couple options. We can go and auction off the land, then we lose pretty much all control.
Actually can't.
You can't put it up for auction?
Well, we could,
Yeah,
but
you can.
No,
this-
but you have to give it
Yes,
to
you
the
can.
lowest.
Not as
zero
it currently
control.
sits.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah, but, you know, this is a common, I mean, the SPE is new for Hartford, but if you look at every town around us, whether it's Colton, Salem, Montrose, I don't know about Montrose, but for sure Salem, Dells, they all have development corporations or development foundations, which helps maintain, for the city to maintain some level of control over city-owned property. Now, some of those corporations, you know, keep going and going and going, and that's fine. But I think it's good just for the listeners, all of us in this room probably know that, but we want to set something up to where it's project-focused, where, and also in those bylaws, and correct me guys if I'm wrong, is that they are, and like you said, yep, those can change at any time, right? Okay, well, we better appoint the best damn people we can that have the best interests of Hartford, but they have to abide by our master plan, right? And so there is a high level, and I know all of the people on that board pretty well, some not so well.
I know every
Yeah,
member of the board,
yeah.
personally, and,
Yeah.
you know, I have no objection with the elected
Yeah.
members, the appointed members or anything like that. I think it's a good thing for the city of Hartford to do.
Right.
I mean, because we need to reclaim those lagoons and we need to utilize that interstate footage, you know?
Yep.
And it's a crime for retail, you know, industrial, no, we don't want to do your industrial right on the interstate, you know, that draws people in off the exit, you know, when they can see your stores and stuff out there.
All right.
That gives them a reason to come in.
Are you good? Because I want to keep, I got some other stuff, unless you got other stuff.
Question that-
Okay.
That I saw come up, and I'll ask, I'm just asking this because it's on Facebook, you know, why is it Gateway Hartford registered to your home address, your physical home address?
Because,
I'm just asking because it's
Nope,
out there.
yeah, that's
I'm just
fine.
being the devil's advocate here, you know.
I will tell you, we're sure as heck not, we're not trying to hide anything or do anything different, but we had to have an address, and when we were setting this up, we sat at that table and we said, well, why don't we use the mayor's? That, really, that was the discussion.
So, and there's more to it, you can't use the city's website.
Right.
Or the city's address, because as we apply for the brownfield grant.
That's what we haven't gotten to yet.
Right, there's other things that are coming.
I was just asking a question because it's
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
online.
correct.
So I was just playing devil's advocate.
We needed to have an address to
And
use.
making it publicly known, so you can publicly answer.
Gateway Hartford isn't associated with the city, so we couldn't use the city's
Right.
address.
Right, I understood, which,
Right.
you know, my thought was a PO box, you know.
We could need a physical address, so-
Yeah, your endpoint in
I
time. you know,
I
at
believe
some
the
point.
requirement was at least initially, was a physical
Physical
address.
address.
Right.
I
And
think a lot of
understand.
the questions will be answered as you
Yep.
Why do
continue
we
on.
even need to do this?
Yeah.
Right.
And so, you
He's
know,
got good questions
He
though.
does.
I mean, and this
No,
is.
I
know, I
Yeah,
know.
No, that's
yeah,
fine.
he's
I'm
already-
not
yes.
against the questions, I just think
Yeah.
we haven't had a chance to explain some
Explain
of it that
everything
will
yet.
answer some of
Yes.
this.
Okay, so remediation, we'll talk about that. So part of the requirements when you're going to, and grants was mentioned here earlier, are there grants? There's a huge grant available right now through the EPA for what they call brownfield remediation. Here's the basis. The city was the polluter, so the city cannot apply for the grant, which, if you want to talk about something that doesn't seem like it makes any sense, doesn't make much sense. So our entity, our special project entity, Gateway Hartford, has to be in place. The land will have to be transferred because they are applying for the grant. Not the city. Gateway Hartford is applying for the grant. We have our city engineer, ISG, is going to help assist Gateway Hartford with the application. Teton Ridge, which is Steve Watson, which has been helping us as a development consultant, will help with that process. Here's the other thing. That grant application is due in by the 28th of January. We've been talking about this for a while. It seems like we're stepping on the gas right now, but partially why we are, because we don't want to miss the window for this grant. Because if we could pick up any money from that grant and remediate that lagoons, it's going to make this thing just easier.
The
It makes it
remediation is-
it makes it marketable because the land is,
Yeah, it's
you know,
usable
it's not,
land
it's,
versus.
and it's,
developer
well,
having to come in and put five
the
million
cost
dollars
to develop it drops significantly if we can get the grant money.
Right.
The remediation
Yeah.
is millions.
Right.
3.5 or, I don't know,
Yeah,
3.
2 point something was the 2.8 million to remediate it. That's a lot of money to get rid of
It
it.
is.
And then that makes it less attractive to develop because it costs the land, unless the city just wants to. We
So,
don't want to lose money, or pay money out of our budget to remediate it and then
Yeah.
give it away.
so our initial board was established, or the initial board for Gateway Hartford is Keith Mathieson is the president, Mark Brenneman is vice president, Dylan Peterson, who is sitting here, is the treasurer. Travis Keel will sit on the initial board, and if we get past number 1 here and you guys decide to appoint me, I will be the 5th member of that board. The one piece that we have to do at our next board meeting is, what did he call it, draw straws or whatever, just figure out who's doing 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
Right.
We got some housekeeping that has to be cleaned up. But all in all, the group's in place, the group is in the meeting.
We've got a separate attorney, we've got a separate
Accountant.
We've got a master planner. you know,
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Marcus Taylor. Will those funds go anything towards that water treatment plant that the citizens, I know everything got between payments and all that, but just where will funds go? Will that be like donated to the city? Will any of that go back to the water treatment? in the
Ooh, that's a
future?
great question.
Or what was,
The funds at the end of the project that are in the
yeah,
pot?
what's the appropriation of the funds going to go towards?
We have not that's a great question. We
We
have
talked
not,
about earmarking,
yeah.
but
we-
much to,
Benjamin.
Benjamin's point,
Yes.
when that money comes back to the
Staff
city,
council.
we don't know who will be sitting in these seats, and they will have control of what
Yeah.
it's used for.
I guess my main question, was there like any plans in place for just any idea? But,
We've talked about some ideas, it's,
and I know it's hard to say something.
it's hard to say
without-
because this could quite literally be
Yeah.
20 years out. Because
Yeah.
because that group is gonna take capital, it's gonna take money
Yeah.
to,
Yes, sir.
because they have to pay for, there's a
Yeah.
lot that goes into this,
Yeah.
so.
If you equate it to
Yeah.
a similar development, which they refer to as the Golden Triangle between 57th Street, 29, and 229,
Yep.
down in that area, that development is a business park, so to speak, and that area has taken about 20 years to develop, 25 years, maybe even a little longer. So it's a long play. But if it were me, and I had any say in it, when that money comes back to the city, if we didn't have a new city hall, or we didn't have a community
Event
Event
center.
center,
Yes, sir, yeah.
Swimming
that would
pool.
be
You could-
something
yeah.
back to that everybody in the community
Right.
can appreciate.
Right.
Yeah.
There could be, who knows? There could be so many uses for that money that,
And, you know,
And yeah, our needs may come up if,
Yeah.
when it comes back in, you know?
Totally,
yeah,
yeah.
and depending on what that timeline is, we talked about this capital improvement plan,
Yep.
and if the water tower would go on there, maybe we have it back before we need to build that, and it can be,
Yeah.
appropriated to that.
Hopefully,
Maybe
the
we don't.
Yeah.
hopefully the wastewater treatment plant is paid for by them
Yes,
as
sir.
well.
Yeah.
Good point, though.
I think, for me, as we talked about, how do we do this? So the city has a few options. One of theirs, just let it sit there. I don't even know if we can do that, but I suppose we could. We won't be able to sell it, we won't be able to use it. It literally would just sit. The other option is to cough up $3 million ourselves out of a budget we don't have funding for right now to remediate it ourselves. And then, what do we have to do, auction it? Because we can't,
Yeah, we can't,
we
we
can't
can't
just-
directly sell it to him, but we have,
we can't sell it, the
guidelines
city
in place.
cannot, that's a state law, and it's also, we can't develop it, even if somehow we.
right.
And so this is also no different than what the city's done in the past with city-owned land.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's different in the context that it's an SPE, so it's project focused, so this is not and I know, we know this, but I know there's people tapping in tonight, but we have gifted other city land over to, we have a development fund, so we've done that in the past.
Yep.
And so I think that's also good for people to know is this is how cities have to operate with city-owned land.
Yep.
We've made the decision as a council, that, what, we want to do something different that is hyper-focused on this prime real estate land. And so it's
And
no
it's done.
different, yeah, which is no different than what we've done in practice.
I would
Yeah.
say too, despite, the questions about being able to guarantee, how well this goes, where does the money go at the end, I don't know that we can guarantee any of that, but of the options we have, this is still the best option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with that, 100% with the proposal, everything.
Yeah.
Just a question I had, and
No.
then, with.
I'd love to, I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to be on council in 20 years. But it would be so fun to be able to be on council when that happens and actually have what should be a decent amount of money without a loan and without having to, to be able to put into our community. It should be really exciting whether it's 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your input.
Oh, you bet.
And then one other thing was with the population and the, not townhomes, but those apartment complexes getting put up on 38 there with that tank and all the other improvements, would that be passed? I guess I don't know if you did anything with that. Turn them off, I'm sorry.
Oh.
We're done.
Man.
If we kept putting, or kept getting apartment complexes built?
On the water system, that is?
Yeah. On our current water system.
We'd be in good shape.
Yeah, we'd be in good shape.
Okay.
That'd be something we'd be able to model. Certainly, there's different demands for those different uses, so definitely something to check.
We don't know the power, you turned the TV off, just stand there. What the heck?
I don't know what to say.
All right, so,
Thanks for speaking up, appreciate it.
yeah,
I do have one more. follow-up
Yep, one more question, yep.
It's online. Who's paying for all of Gateway Hartford's expenses in the meantime?
that's that's number 2 on this list. The city is going to give them some money. Yes.
They're not gonna do it for free. I mean, not the board, but the consultant, the
And
people that need to.
Oh, no, I understand. It's just a question, who's putting the bill for?
I will speak as mayor. This is an investment in the future. We're trying to get this land sold. We're trying to get the lagoons remediated. We need to do this. We need this group, Gateway Hartford, to help us and get this done. The investment we're gonna make from a city standpoint is great dollars spent.
And we did budget for community.
Yep.
For development.
So, that's I'll say it so that can be on Hartford Happenings
And
tomorrow.
every year we do budget funds for
Yep.
development. We've done that
Probably
for
on there
many
now.
years.
Yeah, and Ben, I want to say something to that point, because it is a good question. I think I've made it clear when we've talked in the past, kind of, setting this thing up as like, what I don't want to see is, and I think with the right people at the wheel on this thing, is like, there's going to be some money up front. But what I don't want to see is, if I'm on here next year, which I probably won't be, but what I don't want to see is 5, 6, 8 years are coming back every year asking for money. Okay, so what I want to see is, that's in a perfect world, that's my vision. Hey, let's get this thing going. Let's do it right. Let's sell some land, right? Let's sell some land, and hopefully, Lord willing, this thing can be self-sufficient. Now, it's gonna take time, but that is my vision of, that's my idea of this. And if you're on council next year, then you'll probably see the other side of it, but that's, I think, it's unique to the city in terms of that, but I really want to see this group do well and to be self-sufficient.
Yep.
I want to see the group move forward with the
Absolutely.
project and get it done.
Yep.
Just, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, I get it.
Verbal voice for those listening
Yep.
online.
Well, and I think we have a history of spending money on economic
So,
development.
when they ask online and they're like, well, I just brought the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for bringing it.
We've had allocation in every year's budget since I've been on, related in different ways to economic development, and I think this is just one more way to help do that. So I don't know that it's really reasonable.
So, before we move on to our action items, I just asked Dylan, anything you want to add, or anything you want to?
No. Thank you, Ben, for the questions. I came to clear the air on some of that stuff, and that was already addressed. So I think it'll be a good thing for Hartford. We're going to do our best to carry the torch and make sure it's carried out accordingly. And I guess you have my word for that, as long as I'm on the board. And there's a good checks and balance system. We got Mark, Travis, and Arden, and Keith. So it's not just our council members on the board. Wanted to clear that up. Arden's not the president. His mailing address of the LLC is irrelevant, basically. It was a necessity at the time. That's all I got.
Thank you for being a part of the
You bet.
project.
And Dylan stepped it, and Dylan's on there because we were can I say that? Well, it sounds smart. They said, you go find some young guy. Somebody sat in here and said.
I don't care, I said
we
that,
need-
I'm like.
We need a little diversity.
We need to get a little diversity on there.
I'm
Bill.
all
I
about
think it'll be,
DEI.
it'll be a good thing for Hartford's image. and
Yes.
Yeah.
Attracting people and businesses in
Yeah.
the future, that's our goal.
Yeah,
And as far as what the money goes to, we don't know how much money it's gonna revenue. It'll be 20 years from now or whatever we said.
Yeah.
It's a hard question to answer, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully we get the right people in and instill the values that we want and the next members, you know, the council members or the board members of Gateway Hartford will probably change every 3 to 5 years, I imagine.
Yeah.
People will phase in and out, so, you know, if you're out there listening and have a keen interest, you know, maybe take that in consideration in the future when that time comes.
You bet. Good, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. All right, anything else that I should have covered? Travis, anything else you can think that I should have covered?
No, I think that's a
Good kickoff, kind
It's a
of?
nice kickoff. There'll be a press release. I mean, there's gonna
Yeah.
be more information to come,
Yeah.
but that's a great
So,
foundation.
before we move into the action items, the third one on our list tonight is lagoon land transfer to the entity. We are not going to do that. We're going to have to delay that or postpone that off to a future meeting. Because of the city's wanting to, how do I say this? Craig and the guys need to get in there and get the rest of the water out and take care of the lagoons until the remediation process started. So once we're confirming with DANR that once we transfer that land to Gateway Hartford, that they can, for $1 or whatever, lease it back to the city for a period of time so we can get in there and continue working. So those paperwork is not ready to go. And so we cannot act, I don't want to act on that until we have that in place.
But we do want to act on appointing you to the board and releasing some funds, correct?
Correct. I think we can do those two tonight.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mayor Arden to the Board of Gateway Hartford Incorporated.
Second.
All right, any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Carlson. Gee, I couldn't get that.
Yes.
You got it.
Yes.
New guy, Carlson, I said it. All right. And then the second one is funds that will be provided to Gateway Hartford to pay for this, some of this initial cost. We got application fees, we got professional fees.
You got CPAs to pay.
Master
attorneys to
plan,
pay.
yeah.
Yeah. We don't have that number in
I
there.
was gonna say,
Yeah,
right,
it's, yeah. What
all you have
is-
is approval of the contract right now.
So, you want to tell them, you want me to tell them what we're thinking? Or what they're,
I think it's gonna take $100,000 a year for 3 years. And so whether that, you feel, I'll let you guys decide how you wanna allocate it. But I think at a minimum, it'd be 100 this year to get us through the end of the year and into next year. To have that seed money, so to speak, to keep the ball rolling with, you know, attorney fees, CPA fees, master planner, those fees. So is that a good summary?
I think that's a great summary. And I would add to what Travis said, if we want to do 100,000 now, and then when we come to budget time this summer, then we can make the decision and just say, hey, we want to line item this for the next year or two, and do it then. But I think for 2026, I would say 100,000 will get us along, into next year, I would say.
Yeah, sure.
So,
And we did talk about in budget, more than 100 actually for economic development. Or was that in the general fund that we pulled that extra 100 from? Where is this coming from?
I mean,
This would come
it's
from
in
the
budget.
general.
It's budgeted in general, that and without.
And how much money do we have in this? Is it the third penny? What do we have in that, Karen? Sorry to put you on the spot, but you knew it was coming.
And maybe that's a next year, you know,
Yeah.
Do you want to know what actual funds are in there or budget?
funds.
Funds to date? Funds to date.
Funds, yeah.
Yeah, funds today for cash.
Oh, these sheets.
There it is,
There it
right
is,
there.
there it is. There it goes.
I guess the one thing I would have, and because this number's, I mean, just, I want to make sure I'm not missing something here.
Right.
That requested number is not in the packet.
It is not.
Okay.
No, because it wasn't talked
I
about.
wish it was. Just, obviously,
So in the third penny, what we have for reserves, actual money in the third penny, we have 317,000.
yep. And so just to clarify, that third
And nothing is
penny,
allocated to that.
what's that? Say that part
And
again?
nothing is allocated to that.
Right, so we've got 317,000 in this third penny.
Yep, that
And
could
we can
be
use
for
that third
economic
penny for
development.
marketing and/or economic development
Yep.
purposes,
Right.
correct?
Yes, you can.
And so right now, there is nothing where that money is going to, right now. That money right now is not earmarked
It's
for
not.
any specific project.
We have stuff budgeted this year.
$50,000
Yeah,
of it is
but-
budgeted. Yeah, there's money budgeted for it.
Right.
Like, you know,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I asked because, I know when we did budget, maybe we did call out that another 100,000 for economic development planning in the general fund, but if it's sitting in third penny, which is restricted, what's the con of pulling it from there?
There really isn't any con going either way. Yeah.
And we can't use that for water,
Marketing
we
and
can't
economic
use it
development.
For water,
for
can't use it for
sewer,
sour.
we can't use it for
Yeah,
parks.
third penny is more restrictive. It is for like marketing or economic development, land purchases, community halls, buildings, you can, but you can't use it for water, you can't use it for sewer, streets, parks, none of that can come out of there, so it is more restrictive. So we have 317,000 in there for actual funds, 112 is budgeted for going to like the chamber,
Right.
that 50,000, you know,
Yeah.
various things that we have in budget. So you still have a balance in there of
Couple hundred.
200,000
Even if
that
we
is
did 50 and
unallocated.
50.
That's kind of what I was, I'm open for discussion on this, obviously.
Yep.
I think, and I've been involved, all this, well, except for a couple of the newer people, this is an extremely exciting project, and it's gonna have a major impact on the city. I wonder if there'd be an appetite for the council to do, maybe we start off with 50, and reevaluate in 6, 7, 8 months. Maybe we do the 100. I guess I want to cause some discussion, is really what yeah.
I'd be okay with the 100. I think where I would want to dig in is when we go to budget.
Yeah.
Because if, we're not gonna run that, but just like any other organizations, we want to know how it's being used.
Yep.
And that we agree and are supportive of the purposes.
Then we'll have
of
some
the
track
use.
record too, so.
Then we'll know
Right.
what you've had.
Yeah.
We'll know probably a better plan of where
Yeah.
you need to go. I know 100 sounds like a lot,
We'll
but
know
when you're
about the
looking at
brownfield grant, we'll have
millions.
some master planning stuff to present, yeah, absolutely.
And that discussion is only
A few months,
6
really.
months away.
Yeah.
It's no secret that I want a plan, I want a business plan, I want to know where money is going.
Correct.
When anybody comes and asks for money for budget,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna approve it unless I know where that money
Yeah.
is going. So I could be on board with, because this is a project that's just starting out, but for future,
Oh, yeah.
I will want specifics.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
know.
request the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing that we request from any.
I'm gonna be just
Yep.
as harsh
Absolutely.
on asking for a fully,
Mhm.
where is this money going? And, as any other organization that comes
I
and
would
asks for
expect
money.
nothing less,
Right.
yeah. No,
That's
I-
one of Dylan's duties other duties as assigned.
Deal with Michelle.
Deal with the
Convince
mission.
Michelle with me.
I think 3-year projections are on the
Yes.
next agenda, or
Yeah.
for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Because if I'm not
Just not a
mistaken,
fan of
Dylan,
handing out money without
Right.
an actual,
I
I need
agree.
to know where it's going.
when we put in our application for our 501c3, I think we have to supply a 3-year budget, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
For the tax, yeah. So that, we don't have it at this minute, but that,
It's coming.
yes.
Yep.
Okay?
And then it's coming from the third penny, because it looks like it's designed for that, and then you can use, so it's not restricted, we're not
I think
taking
you can use the
unrestricted
third
funds.
penny, because that's a viable, economic development's a
Right, so
viable.
then we're not restricted in the other funds in case if we need it for something else, so that, this would almost be a perfect use for it. So,
Okay.
you need a motion?
You bet.
So 100,000 for the Gateway Hartford for their expenses, to be reviewed again in, is it June?
Next budget year.
Budget.
Next budget year, and to be taken from the third penny account. Second.
Perfect. Thank you. Any discussion?
Now's the time. Now's the time.
Hearing none, we're gonna vote. Carlson.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
Okay, and how should we do that? Should we table that third or item
It's on the
or
agenda, so I would just table it to a future meeting.
to the next meeting?
Yep.
I'll make
Can I,
them, oh
can I,
yeah.
before we,
Yep.
Okay,
do we need this contract, or does Gateway Hartford need this contract?
what do you do?
This is the Teton Ridge.
The city of
Consulting.
Hartford
Oh, that's the
has
next
one,
item.
and Gateway Hartford has one. This is just for the city of Hartford.
Okay.
The next item, yeah.
So let's table the transfer of the land, get that, and then the next item is this
Yeah.
Teton Ridge contract that we can talk about.
But let me get this straight, the transfer of land has to happen before the
Before the-
grant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 28, so.
Like, that'll be on the next meeting, because that,
Yeah.
and that grant needs to be submitted by the 28th.
And this is a large, the potential, you never know if you're gonna get a grant, right? But the
I mean, this is
potential
a great
significant.
grant, yes, that hopefully they've got quite a bit of funding that.
Do we know?
I tried to get I really did. I tried to get this paperwork done, and I just couldn't get the.
Attorneys take.
You push the attorney.
Attorneys take.
Attorneys
know-
take vacations.
Yeah, they take
But you know, you gotta
vacations.
work with their attorney and our attorney.
Yeah,
and it's
so I just could
I
not.
just want to make sure I was clear on those dates.
Yes,
and-
you are, so we will
It was
have to
making
be
me nervous.
discussed.
I tried.
like,
Believe me, I tried. So, all right, so let's take action on that. Did you make a motion, Sean, or
I
you
was just
started?
gonna make a motion to
Table.
table, the transfer of land. I was gonna make a motion to table that topic until the next meeting.
Yep.
Second,
And there's no discussion on the table, so we will vote. Schilling.
yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Okay. All right, did we cover everything that we should have on that? Thank you for all your questions. Dylan, thanks for being here. Thanks for all your comments. An adventure that will have people asking us questions. All right, the last item on the agenda tonight is to approve a contract with Teton Ridge. So this is totally away from Gateway Hartford. This would be, the city contracted with Teton Ridge to help us through some of this initial process and some of the economic development that we've been working on. I'll just say, I feel that from a city standpoint, at least for the next year, if we could keep Teton Ridge under contract with the city to help us with any unforeseen snags, I guess I'll call it that. Because he's going to be working independently with Gateway Hartford on their application, on the development plan, on the remediation. That's all separate from the city. But I would like to have the ability, if the council agrees, to be able to use Teton Ridge when we have economic development opportunities, maybe would not be the right word, but questions and issues that we need him to help us with. Does that make sense? You want to add anything?
No, no, the summary that Teresa's provided is a snapshot of of what Teton Ridge can do, so, and has done.
I guess I just get, so when we say it's consulting services to support lagoon, the city's not going to do that, is what we just
Correct.
said. So that's why I guess I'm asking.
Oh, I see, yeah, that's Gateway Hartford, yes, I see.
Right.
But it's, so supporting the lagoon remediation through Gateway Hartford, so any, that back and forth between the city and Gateway Hartford as far as getting that remediation done, would be facilitated potentially by Teton Ridge.
Okay, so another question on that, so, because obviously, I want to make sure, so so typically if we're working on a so typically that'd be like our engineer, wouldn't it? Like in terms of, well, I guess I'm just trying to think, because Teton Ridge is going to be working specifically with Gateway Hartford, correct?
So I think if you go to the last,
Yeah. The scope.
the engage state and federal stakeholders to help with economic
Yeah.
development outcomes. You'll actively go out and look for grants and other opportunities for the city to maximize its
Right,
investment
just like
into
what,
improving that
just like what we did up
on
there.
North Oaks.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, just, so that would be an
Yes.
example where we
Yes.
got an 80-20 grant.
Yes.
It was a private, it was a private development or.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think fairly quickly, though, this would end up being more with Gateway Hartford.
Yeah.
Gateway Hartford will
And-
have a contract with Teton Ridge.
Right,
as well.
I'm saying I wouldn't expect a lot of services
right,
except for.
and that's why we had him set it up and give us a per hour,
Yeah,
not to exceed,
you're right.
and just so we had,
And even here, at any point, you feel like those services aren't being justified,
30 days we'll
you got
just,
30-day written.
And it's capped at
Yeah,
it's capped, yeah.
$11,600.
Yeah,
So I don't think you're gonna get too crazy with that.
No.
With a consultant and $11,000.
We're not, I mean, as a city, we're not. Gateway Hartford isn't gonna utilize those
those dollars.
contracted
no.
hours either. That's gonna be directed from Teresa.
Yeah,
It's gonna be limited, too, but there will be things that'll pop up. I mean, we do need to work with.
Certainly with the land
The city needs
transfer.
to work with Gateway Hartford and probably have that conduit to, because we still need to go in there and finish out, clearing out,
Yep.
our lagoons. We need an easement through with our billboards. I mean, there's things that we're still gonna need, like I said, to work with Gateway Hartford and have that conduit to kind of help us through that, so.
Right,
that makes sense.
yes.
All right,
Make a motion to approve the contract with Teton Ridge.
Second.
any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Carlson?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Parachek?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right, anything else? I don't see anything else on the list. Is everybody up for another 10 minutes if I say we want to go in for a few seconds?
For what, economic
Personnel.
development and personnel?
Economic development and personnel.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go into executive session for economic development and personnel.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not connected yet still.
Okay. Isn't that funny?
Go.
I think we're good.
Motion to adjourn?
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very